All right, it's the Illini Basketball Podcast, episode number 96. Whoa. Getting close to triple digits action. We have a lot of season left. This feels like the season's been going on forever, but there's a lot more games left than people expect or realize. I don't think people understand. There's 9 games left.
9 games.
That's a lot. It is a lot, yeah. Jesus, I thought that there was like 6 games left. But whatever. I was off by 3, not a big deal. But, Illinois doing what they do. Pretty – I don't know if streaky is the right way to put it, because streaky really implies that you're, losing multiple in a row and then winning multiple in a row. I think Illinois typically is a team that loses 1 in a row, then wins a lot in a row. But in this case, I guess they did lose 2 in a row.
Yeah. And
they've won 3 in a row since. Now, Wisconsin – put on one of the worst shooting displays in the history that I've ever seen from 3.
Yeah.
And Illinois took advantage of that. Finally, a game where I said Kofi would dominate, and he actually did. So Illinois beats Wisconsin 80-67. I think it wasn't even that close. Shouldn't have been that close, to be honest. But Illinois always lets teams hang around, and they did until kind of middle. They had a really fast start to the second half. Wisconsin got back in it, and then they kind of took it home.
Yeah, they did.
Easily.
And like you said, we'll go player of the game like we always do. I think we both agree this. Kofi, very efficient, 16 of 19 from the field, 37 points, 12 rebounds, 1 block. He played like he should have against this Wisconsin team. They don't have anybody to stop a guy like Kofi. So he did what he needed to do. You think if, some other guys make some threes and Illinois' offense is really going, they put this team away, like you said, easily. They make more free throws. They only made 9 free throws after, had 18 attempts. So 50% from the line's not great, but they didn't need it. And Kofi was what we thought Kofi would be in this game. I saw that somebody put this out there that he's the first player in the last 25 years with 35 points, 10 rebounds on I think it was 75% shooting in a game versus an AP ranked team. Only player in the nation that has had 2 32-point, 10 rebound games. And Sean Harrington, who is former Illini, he's now an analyst on ESPN, said Davis is a great player, but Big Ten Player of the Year is an obvious one right now, Kofi. So he's getting some praise. Katz, Andy, your boy, the fraud, said that he is in the elite group for National Player of the Year. So Kofi's getting some love again. It took going against Johnny Davis and Johnny Davis having maybe one of his worst shooting games. He has a lot of games where he goes 5 of 20, 6 of 20, but he finds ways to get points. And I guess everybody looks at, hey, he had 22 points, but as far as the rest of the guys, Grandison finally found his shot, 14 points. So he's back, making that 14, 15 points a game, had 3 big threes for Illinois, made a nice jumper, also had 7 rebounds, so uptick on the rebounds. Illinois did not rebound well in the first half of this game. Allowed a lot of offensive rebounds for Wisconsin. Wisconsin ended up having 12 offensive rebounds. So Illinois' got to find a way to rebound better, especially, when they had the size against the team like Wisconsin, at least in with a big of, Kofi. But Grandison did say he was asked about his shooting slump or whatever, and he said, coming into the game, I just decided I was out of my slump from here on out. And Joey Wagner said, how did you decide and follow through on it? And Grandison said, quote, mind control, power of the mind. So what if that's what you got to do, I guess it works. But he played well, like we said. And he said that, quote, we worked really hard to be in first place. Now we have to work really hard to stay in first place. They got some tough games coming up. They're going to be on the road a lot. So I thought the biggest thing, too, with Grandison is Wall scored 12 points in the first half, seemed to be able to do whatever he wanted in the first half, and Grandy held him to 2 points in the second half. So
Yeah, it
that was
also
a
helps that
big
Wisconsin
part.
completely went away from Wall for some reason. Like,
They
what the hell
did,
was
yeah.
that?
And I feel like Wall got a lot of his points off rebounds and putbacks.
Whenever he went in the lane, he did whatever he wanted in the first half.
Yeah, and I maybe that's part on Grandison, but man, can Kofi put his hands up, please?
No,
Like one, just
dude,
one.
that is way too much to ask for, man.
It drives me crazy that he just sits in the lane with his hands down, and maybe he's worried about foul trouble. I don't know, but gosh, that's one of the biggest things that bothers me. Indiana or Wisconsin was doing anything they wanted to in the first half. Illinois' defense wasn't good. I'm not saying that their defense was great in the second half. I know that everybody's talking about how good Illinois' defense has been.
I mean, look at the 3-point looks that Wisconsin was getting and missing.
They were wide open, right?
A lot of them.
Yeah. So
just incompetent coaching by Greg Gard. Like, how do you not give Wall the ball more in the second half?
right.
Like, that's similar to what Painter did with Edey when they were in Champaign.
Yeah. And
like
Illinois back in the
why
game.
do they just go away from these guys? Like Johnny Davis, how many times do you want to watch him throw up a brick from anywhere on the floor or be more concerned about getting to the free throw line than actually scoring
right.
to just not give the ball to Wall? And Davison
Yeah.
couldn't make anything. So the Barstool Illini jinx did not happen.
It did
was
not
terrible.
Happen. Yep. And I apologize to Barstool Illini for calling him out on the jinx. But
I did tweet that he looked a lot like Mulcahy offensively in that game because usually Davison's a better offensive player.
Yeah.
But not in this game. And the other thing is, I think Greg Gard is probably bottom 5 in the Big Ten when it actually comes to coaching his players. Like, remember last year there was that report that Wisconsin players didn't like him. I thought that they might get rid of him.
Yeah.
I mean, the games like this where you just let one guy try to take the game over and he scores 11 of his 22 points at the line. And most people that want to get on their hands and knees for Johnny Davis are not going to talk about the fact that he scored 11 points of his 22 at the free throw line. And nobody was talking about that. It was very Jaden Ivey-esque.
Yeah, on calls that other guys don't get, I would say.
They don't know how to officiate players in the Big Ten.
A lot of the time when he would go to the basket, he looked untouched or definitely not fouled like Kofi gets hammered down in the lane. I mean, Kofi gets beat up every game and doesn't get any foul calls. It's embarrassing.
I think more so than anything with Kofi is that he doesn't get a lot of foul calls in the first half.
Yeah.
In the second half, they give him a lot more calls.
Yeah.
I think that happens almost every game. I mean, Johnny Davis was 5 for 19 in this game. He was horrendous. And then they go away from Tyler Wall, who was 7 for 8 from 2-point attempts, 0 for 3 from 3, which everybody in Wisconsin couldn't make one.
Right.
It's just unbelievably bad coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk about their 3-point shooting, and I want to say that, they shot 24 threes, and I would say 15 to 20 of them were uncontested. I mean,
how many times are we going to see like Omar Payne trying to close out in a 3 and not even like jumping at all, just kind of putting his hands up?
Yeah, well, it's better than not putting his hands up. So.
But his hands are like 5 feet away from the guy, so it's not even effective at all.
Well, a guy running at you will help more than.
Why not just jump with the one arm?
Because then he fouls them, and then you're mad about that. So
they don't usually give him the call if you go in. Like Davis got that flop warning because he went into like Johnny Davis and Jaden Ivey are so ready to play in the NBA with their ability to draw fouls.
Yeah. Sure.
Quote unquote fouls, I guess I should say.
Yep. Yeah.
We don't need that Bush League BS in the Big Ten. Come on.
I mean, that's what you do, right? That's when you're an all-star. That's what they're trained to do is to look like they get fouled all the time. Plummer still struggling. 1 for 6 from 3, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. You think Plummer, makes 3 to 4 like he usually does. Illinois again runs away with this game. Same thing with Frazier. He's 1 of 5 from 3, 3 of 10 from the field. But Frazier, he played well. 7 assists, 3 rebounds, and the big thing was defense. and I'm never going to hate on Trent's defense. I thought he played defense well against Davison. Like you said, he was 3 of 12, 0 for 6 from 3, only had 7 points. So, and I thought DeMonte did a good job on Johnny Davis. But like I said, there were open shots out there. Wisconsin struggled the whole second half. DeMonte, 8 rebounds. Again, he is the guy that is getting rebounds when a lot of people aren't. 3 of 5, 1 of 3 from 3, 5 assists. So he's still dishing out the ball well. He did take it to the hoop one time and made it. So I'm happy with that because that might be the first 2 he's made when he's actually going to the hoop, not a dunk or anything. So yeah, I don't know. The team's got to rebound better, but Johnny Davis, my biggest thing about him is how well he does rebound. He had 15 rebounds in this game. He had 15 rebounds in his last game. So Illinois' got to find a way to crash the boards better. As far as the bench, was there a sub in the second half at all? I seriously don't remember. But
that's a good question.
He relied on his starting 5 when the game mattered. Curbelo had some time, 11 minutes. He was out of control at it, like he does sometimes. Made a couple good buckets, made a 3. I said he was going to make a 3. I actually said he was going to make 2, but I'll take 1. But I do feel like when Curbelo does turn the ball over, he at least once or twice a game, he steals it back, which he did in this game. So his 2 turnovers, the team only had 7 turnovers. So
only 13 total turnovers in this game.
Yeah. It was fairly clean game. Omar Payne had 7 minutes. He had a nice dunk. And then after that, Hawkins 2 minutes, Melendez 2 minutes, Goody 7 minutes. So 11 minutes between the 3, 7 points, 3 for 7 from the field. That's
so Hawkins plays 2 minutes and still manages to shoot a 3. Sweet. Love that.
Still missed it. So.
God, he's terrible. So overall, I'm not going to blame Plummer for not shooting well. I think it took a long time for him to even get a shot.
Yeah.
So I think that they didn't even try to get him going.
And I feel like that's something, and I don't know if he just can't get away from the defender or if Illinois fails to set screens like we've talked about. But they don't seem to run much for Plummer.
He also had 3 or 4 that were pretty much in the hoop. And didn't go in. Yeah.
Yep. So, you get Frazier and Plummer to start dropping shots. This team's going to be hard to beat when, at full strength. And that's the question that we talked about. When they're at full strength, what does Brad do? And it looked like when the game mattered, Brad went to the starting 5 and didn't really care about anybody else playing.
Well, if Grandison was not playing the way that he was, he wouldn't have been in there.
That's true.
I don't know. I think he's always
would have got more time.
He's always going to trust Plummer and Frazier, I think, unless they're foul trouble.
Yeah.
Kofi's obviously going to be in there.
Plummer's just getting beat on defense,
DeMonte is a good player to have late in games to rebound and defend.
Yeah.
But I feel like at this point we kind of spend too much time even discussing Brad's rotations because they never make any sense. So I just don't think we should really read into it too much.
They're random. And it is what it is. He was asked, with everybody back, how does he settle into rotations? And his answer was, I have no earthly idea. So
yeah,
that tells you anything.
Right. He's being honest.
Yeah. And he also said that, we haven't seen how good Curbelo is yet completely. And he talked about RJ Melendez and how he's going to be special. He said it 3 times that he's going to be special. I did see today, he talked about Curbelo was tired. And that's why his defense is struggling. So
do you think
called him an elite defender? So
I don't know about that. Do you think maybe in certain little spots, maybe there's certain night
he has great hands.
Yeah.
But he can't keep up with a guy who doesn't ever see him.
Do you think BBV should be getting Hawkins minutes? at this point? Because at least BBV is more physical. I mean,
yeah, it depends if you think BBV can guard the 4, which I think that
he
he's good
guarded
enough.
Edie
Yeah.
didn't do that much against him.
Yeah, and he's not going to take unnecessary
Threes, yeah.
shots.
It's just Hawkins has transfer written all over him, and maybe leaving the team early in the season to leave the program written all over him. It just doesn't. He's not the guy. I don't understand why people hyped him up as if he was going to be some superstar here, and just because he had good games against Arkansas State,
up, right?
Yeah, and then the fans bought into that BS. They should know that half the stuff that he says at his press conferences, like Curbelo being a quote elite defender, is BS.
Yeah, that's a coach though, right? That's what they.
Yeah, he had a couple of sweet tweets too. That did you put his tweets on here?
Who's Brad's?
Yeah, he's tweeting. I agree. A bunch of exclamation points about the free throws.
I think Io's mom said, "Make your damn free throws,"
and he said he agrees. And then he also told Joey Wagner to eat a salad or something.
So I did not see that.
We got that going on here. It was Joey Wagner tweeted. Let me find it here. He tweeted, "Food recommendations in Bloomington, Indiana for me and at dpiper247. Let's hear them." Underwood said, "Any place that serves a salad light or no dressing, just saying."
Dang.
And Joey Wagner said, "Diet starts tomorrow, Brad."
Thanks, Coach.
And then Derek Piper said,
"Somebody taking over Brad's Twitter? He says he doesn't get on it during the season." So
I don't know. He said, "So that's what that feels like." And it was a GIF. Derek Piper says, "That's what that feels like." GIF of Shaq absolutely annihilating somebody on a dunk. And then there's the one where he pushed the guy. Chris Dudley apparently is who that is. So there you go.
Hawkins is another Finky. Fair enough.
I think at least Finky could make some shots,
Yeah, I think Finky probably shot better than 23% from 3.
Yeah, I would think so.
I did look at the plus minus. Grandison plus 18, Kofi plus 16, Plummer plus 16, Frazier plus 11, Williams plus 11, Melendez plus 4, Curbelo -1, Goody -3, Payne -3, Hawkins -4.
Mikal Bridges plus 327. Anyway, damn, what was I going to say? Also, shout out to some of the football coaches showing up. Aaron Henry, the defensive backs coach, I believe is what his position is. Yeah. Shout out. He's a Wisconsin alum, by the way, rooting for the Illini like that, which I think you have to if you're working for them. But,
and Brad did shout out the people that did make it out. I believe the total was like 6,500 people. So not bad for snowpocalypse. And Brad said that the State Farm Center was like Mardi Gras. So
did it snow in Indiana?
Flying around or what? But
did it snow in Indiana at all, like near Bloomington?
I would assume.
Because I don't want any issues to be happening there. I don't think there would be, but
I don't know. I think they should be there today, right? I haven't seen anything on Twitter. Did they post that they were on their way?
I mean, if Wagner's asking for food recommendations, I'm sure the team's there.
Joey Wagner's there, yeah. So, but what else we got? Over the last 3 games, we were talking about defense. Over the last 3 games, Illinois has held their opponents to 59.3 points per game, 36.3 field goal percentage, and 21.4% from 3. So
a lot of open misses, I will say.
Especially I think we've talked about that every game, right? I mean, we've talked about how open guys are. They're
Michigan State more than almost anybody, I think. Michigan State's the one who struggled the most to make the shots, but a lot of it's about luck, and a lot of it's about defense, and a lot of it's about the fact that Illinois does not have a very strong actual defensive lineup. I mean, after DeMonte and Frazier, it gets pretty
a lot of it's about a guy getting 37 points. So
you think there's a 3-tier system of defense where the top tier is DeMonte and Frazier, the middle tier is Grandison, the bottom tier is Plummer and Kofi, you think, or what?
I mean that seems fair.
People seem to have this weird idea that Kofi's like a good defender,
great
which is
defender.
BS.
Yeah,
it's BS. It's ridiculous. It's stupid.
Kofi on the defensive end does not impress me at all.
Even in any matchup, if it's someone bigger than him, if it's someone that's the same size as him, if it's someone that's like a TJD struggled against him. But
I mean, as big as he is, how many blocks is he averaging? Probably like
He's got about 1,000 more
One.
misses. He's got about 1,000 more misses than actual blocks.
One block a game.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to block people when you don't put your hands up, though.
he also whiffs a lot.
And I feel like he comes over and helps more than he should too, especially when and we talked about it a lot last year. Like he just seems a step slow every time. Like his anticipation skills aren't that great. But
that's when you go back to, hey, he's only been playing basketball for this long.
I text you this. Do you think Pods is regretting not going to Wisconsin? Because he'd probably play a lot there. He didn't get to play against, his native land of Wisconsin.
Very far from Illinois, yeah.
Brad, quote, said, I'm comfortable playing anybody, and that's rare for me. Did not seem like it this game.
If he's comfortable enough to give Hawkins any minutes in any Big Ten game ever, then he's probably comfortable with playing anybody.
That's true.
I mean, he played Lieb against Michigan State. I know he kind of had to, but he played a dude who's about 2 seconds away from getting folded in half, which every time we bring up Lieb, I will make sure that we talk about folding in half. I think that's important, no doubt. But Podge is his name, by the way.
Podge.
I mean, I think a lot of it probably comes down to, hey, players don't like Greg Gard. Players like Brad Underwood, it seems. So I'd rather play for a good coach than an absolute loser who's afraid to go to Tyler Wall late in games. I feel like that's kind of maybe the mentality there.
Yep.
I don't
know. Got to win, battle for first place. Illinois stands alone in first place. I don't know when Michigan State plays again.
Tomorrow, Rutgers.
So
at Rutgers.
I mean, just keep winning. Illinois is currently 23-3 over the last 26 Big Ten games. So
seems good. Seems good.
Yeah, I'll take that anytime.
How many of those wins are without Io? Like 13, probably 14, because you got 9 this year.
9 and then 3
he missed at
last
least
year.
2 or 3. So yeah, 12.
I think it was 3.
12. Not bad.
But they, I mean, over the next 9 games, they have a good chance of losing at least 3. So, but
every win's important. They got 9 of them,
That's right.
9 wins used to be how many they'd get in a year or less in the Big Ten.
We will take it.
So now we go to Indiana, a team that I don't like.
Nobody likes Indiana.
But I think this is a bad matchup for Illinois. And I hate to say that, but first of all, it's an 11 a.m. game tomorrow, Saturday, ESPN. So back on ESPN for the first time since the Michigan State game, which is a long time ago. So nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
11 a.m. games are always tough. Indiana's 13-1 at home, 7-4 in the Big Ten, 16-5 overall. Clearly, they like to play at home because they've played 14 of their 18 games at home.
Yeah.
I think Illinois played I think the number is 14 games at home.
I don't know.
12, 13, somewhere around there.
I have no idea.
I was about to get to it, I think, at some point. Illinois has played, I'm about to get this. Here we go. 12 games at home. 10-2. 10-2 at home. 10-2. Plus they have a neutral victory and a neutral court loss, Cincinnati. So nailed it. I guess the Marquette thing was Mark. No, because that can't be right. I did my math wrong. I don't understand this. It says 10-2 at home, 4-2 on the road, which is 14-4. But don't they have? No, whatever. I'm done trying. I quit. All right. Indiana, good ball club, quality ball club. They got players that return from last season. You look at obviously TJD, who,
your boy.
Let's be honest, quality player, overrated. Yeah. I mean, what can you say? Race Thompson's back. They bring in Miller Kopp from Northwestern. They bring in Parker Stewart from University of Tennessee Martin, I believe. Xavier Johnson from Pittsburgh. So they do have 3 of their 5 players, and they typically start or get the majority of the minutes are actually transfers. But
lots of returning players.
Their bench, Rob Finney, Christian Lander, a couple guys that were there last year,
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Geronimo's been playing a lot
Geronimo,
as a
yeah.
freshman.
He
So,
well, he was there last year.
oh,
He's still considered a freshman, but he did
yeah,
play
that's
last
right.
year.
Good old
Yeah.
COVID rules.
He
So,
played like 15 games last year or something, so that one counts. Nailed it. Trey Galloway was there last year. Once again, he's listed as a freshman but played last year. So they got about 7 or 8 returning players that play. So I nailed it. It's probably more like 6, if we're being honest. But
yeah.
interesting mashup of players. I feel like they're a bit of a matchup problem for Illinois just because of how well they've defended, but also like the length is a bit of an issue, similar to Michigan State without a Bingham. So I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be interesting if they just allow TJD to guard Kofi on his own,
I
or
don't think they're gonna.
if they bring a couple guys over and their inside is what's really good defensively. TJD is, he actually averages like two and a half blocks a game. He's very good at reading players and what they're going to do. I think Kofi can impose his physicality against them. Hopefully he doesn't get in foul trouble. That's going to be a big thing. But if he does, I think BBV might be a better matchup against TJD defensively. The way he's played, I think that Payne will play him all right defensively. Kofi scares me. It's kind of that thing we've been talking about. They have some really good fours. I mean, TJD is technically a 4. Race Thompson is a 4, 6'8". Miller Kopp, who doesn't score a whole lot, 6'7". So some size and they're more lanky than big and physical. But if I had to guess, TJD is going to be guarding Kofi, or Kofi's going to be guarding him. I assume DeMonte on Race Thompson just because he's such a good scorer. I know there's a size difference there, but do you put Grandison on him or do you just leave Grandison on Kopp? Because I don't think that you worry about Kopp as much.
Well, the thing is, the thing that I would look at is, so Race Thompson and Trace Jackson Davis are not 3-point shooters. They're
Right.
not going to go back and pop the 3. So that's not something you worry about. Like Pete Nance was someone that you worry about that.
Sure.
Race Thompson's 8 for 33 from 3 this year. So,
okay.
And Miller Kopp can shoot the 3, 38% this year, 39% a couple years ago at Northwestern. So I don't know who are you more comfortable guarding the perimeter between DeMonte and Grandison?
Definitely DeMonte. And that's why Race Thompson, I mean, that's why I think he's going to be the biggest problem for Illinois. He's averaged 18 points over the last 2 games. So I think defensively his matchup's going to hurt Illinois the most. Xavier Johnson averages about 10.5. I assume Trent will be on him. And then you put Plummer on Parker Stewart, who's 6'5".
Who makes a lot of threes.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, you're not wrong when Illinois does not match up defensively well against this team.
When they beat them last year, it was in overtime and Io fouled out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a different team, obviously, but the main pieces of this team were there last year. And it's obviously a different coach, a coach that I thought was an absolutely horrendous hire, still could be that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not world beaters. They're good, really good compared to what last year they should have been much better than they were. And this year I think it's all about their defense. And if you look at, like you said, interior defense is the best part of their defense.
Mm-hmm.
But the team that beat them at home this year was Michigan. And how did Michigan do that? Hunter Dickinson had a huge game, 25 points, and they shot 11 for 17 from 3.
Yeah.
If Illinois can make the 3, that is going to be the key, because
that'll absolutely be the difference.
It killed the perimeter, and Caleb Houston was actually making shots in that game. Indiana's perimeter defense is a weakness, and Illinois needs to expose that, because Illinois is a team that's labeled as if they can't make threes, they can't win. I know people have said that for some reason. I mean, Illinois was 30% against Wisconsin.
I think they've been 30% over their last 4 or 5. Of course, they lost 2 of those, right? So
they were also winning, living, and dying with the 3 in December.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So now they're just become a little bit more dynamic. I don't know. It's a tough matchup, though. I don't want to say that either, because I don't like Indiana, and I really hated the Mike Woodson hire. But at this point it's working out. Who knows if it's going to work out when he has to really build his own team? I mean, I know they've brought in a few guys, a couple of transfers, but a lot of this is still Archie's team.
And I mean, once people see his, I mean, I know that they've played 21 games or whatever, but once they see him more, play against him a few times, will he still be, as strong? So, yeah, I mean, it seems like a tough game, but I think Illinois is better. There's no question that Illinois is a better team, but going on the road, and you bring up Michigan. I mean, Illinois is, I think, far better than Michigan is. I know Michigan's getting better. They're figuring things out, but Michigan just stomped Indiana. So
somebody's got to be hot, And
yeah,
I mean, I don't know who it's going to be, but if you look at what Michigan did, I mean, Caleb Houston was 5 for 7 from 3 in that game. He never does that. Dickinson made 3 threes. I mean, it's just going to have to – maybe Kofi's got to make a 3, get the boys going, but they lit it up.
We got plenty of three-point shooters. So
they lit it up from 3.
And we got 3-point shooters that are due, I feel. I mean, they're due to put some down. So, I don't know. Predictions, I guess we'll go to predictions. I think Illinois is going to win this game. I think they're going to score. I think they're going to make some threes. And I got them winning 78-71.
Yeah, I'm not as confident. I have a feeling that they're going to have a tough time getting to 70 points in this game. Indiana's defense is good. Kofi's probably not going to be as efficient as he was against Wisconsin. I don't think there's any doubt. But
I mean, 16 to 19 for 37 points. Probably not going to happen against Indiana.
Well, the key for Kofi is to face somebody who doesn't block shots, and Stephen Crowell does not block shots.
Yeah, I think that Kofi can get Jackson Davis in foul trouble, though.
Yeah, I think he can, but it's also at Indiana, so
right. Yeah,
little home cooking, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Indiana wins 67-61. I don't want to say that, but I think Illinois is at some point going to lose and then go on another win streak, I would assume. And this could be the place that it happens. It could be Purdue. I don't know, but the next 2 games they're important, but they're not as important as Illinois beat Michigan State and Wisconsin. Those are big resume builders. And at this point, it's all about matchups over seeds for this team. Like you look at the matchups that are projected right now, which is early February. It doesn't matter. But I really see scenarios where Illinois is just facing a terrible matchup. So anywhere from the 3 to a 5 right now would be the ideal spot.
We're pretty good at getting bad matchups.
The fact that team ever lost to Little Chicago is so annoying. I mean, just every day that you think about it, it's just unbelievable because, come on, that team was 10 times better.
Indiana will play inspired ball at home and get beat by 12, Steve says.
So. I mean, he was. I don't know if he was technically right about what he said about the last game with Wisconsin.
Right.
I mean, he made it seem like they were going to win by like 25, but
he said 15 plus. What they win by?
Did he say that? I don't know.
He said 15 plus.
They won by 13, but nice try.
Yeah, I mean, So you talk about Illinois' future. They play Indiana, they play at Purdue. So 4 of their next 5 games are on the road against teams that are 43-5 at home. So Illinois is going to have a tough road through the next, 5 games. They have won on the road consistently.
They've been better in big spots on the road than they have been at home.
Yeah. So, they've only lost 2 of the last 14 games. So over the next, 9 games, I guess, I put the wrong number here. But if they win, 6 of the next 9, do you think they win the Big Ten outright?
You would think so, given the fact that teams always lose games they shouldn't. But I don't know. I mean, how important?
They did give the last shot away, so yeah, technically they won by 15.
2 games in a row they did that. So, Northwestern did the same thing.
So I just wrote down who I think they should beat, who I think they could beat, and who they probably won't beat. They should. I think they should win at Indiana. They got Northwestern at home. They go to Rutgers, who Rutgers has been struggling. They play Ohio State at Illinois, and then they have Penn State and Iowa both at home too. So there's 6 games they could win. I think they can beat Michigan State at Michigan State with Kofi back, and I think that they can win at Michigan. It depends on how good Michigan is by the time they get there. The game I don't think they win, that I don't think they probably have a chance of winning, is at Purdue. I know they took them into double overtime at home, but I don't think that they're going to have much of a shot at Purdue. So, I mean, that's 6 games they could win. They end up, 15 and 5.
Yeah.
I
I think that's 1 game away from winning it.
So you think that
Michigan State could win 16?
Yeah, I haven't looked at Michigan State's.
Michigan State has Rutgers, Wisconsin, and Indiana at home. Penn State, Illinois, Purdue, Maryland at home. Iowa, Michigan, Ohio State on the road.
So all the teams in that are front running right now have tough schedule, and most of them play each other. So
Wisconsin, their schedule is a bit of a joke. I mean, Penn State.
Wisconsin's is by far the easiest.
Penn State, Michigan State, Rutgers, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Rutgers, Purdue, Nebraska. So, I mean, that's going to be not very difficult. How is it? I know they should have won the Big Ten regular season last year, but I don't understand who. I'd rather win the Big Ten tournament. I don't really care either way, to be honest. Or the ideal thing is to just win the last 9 and finish 18-2.
18-2 or 17-3 at worst. That's some high hopes.
Steve's might be Underwood's burner or something.
I love the positiveness. So, but
what would you rather win, the regular season or the tournament?
Both.
The problem is that you're being greedy, but the problem
when was the last time Illinois won the Big Ten regular season? Because we just won a Big Ten tournament.
04-05? 05-06? 04-05? 04-05? 05-06? 04-05? I don't know. I'm right about that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to have won it, obviously, in 05.
Yeah. I'd rather win the rate because – I don't know. I think the regular season's harder to win than the tournament.
It is the regular season is harder to win, but I just don't really care that much. I kind of just my number one concern is to get to the Sweet 16 and beyond. Get
through the first weekend, right?
The problem with my normal logic with
Illinois fans need
is the Big Ten tournament. I would usually look at it and say, if they win that or they get close, you go into the tournament, you're playing well. Last season threw all that out the door. Sure. They were playing Illinois going into the tournament was the second best team in the country, probably behind Gonzaga. So,
yeah. And
I know Baylor emerged. Baylor lost early in the Big 12 tournament last year. So Illinois going into it was the best and second best. But they got beat by the pick and roll or whatever. I mean, I don't know. What can you say? But
you got beat by the pick and roll defense too.
17-3 is the pace they've been on for a year. I just don't see a scenario where they go 8. I mean, winning tomorrow would help me be a little bit more confident, but 8-1 to finish the season is a lot. I think 6-3, 5-4 is the most realistic approach. But if you look at the history of what Underwood's done late in seasons, 7-2 could be on the table, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think 6-3 would be great. I'd hate for them to go 4-5 or something. So,
is there any scenario where they miss the tournament?
No.
Lose all 9?
There's no shot.
If they lost all 9, they would miss the tournament, though. 16-14. That's not enough wins.
There's no way they lose all 9. If they lose all 9, we're never doing this show again. So,
I feel like we get pretty good ratings if they lost all 9 in a row.
That's true. I
don't know, but
I feel like, dude, we're on episode 96. We've been doing Fridays at 4:00 a lot, and it takes me back to the good old days when we used to go over 3 games and have 2-hour podcasts.
Well, those days are long gone, and those days sucked. But, one game by game basis, give you more episodes, more content. You got a couple of Underwood and probably Tim Anderson burner accounts in here. It's good to watch. You got to focus on tomorrow. One game at a time. Focus on tomorrow. Ken Palm says that Indiana wins by 1.
Wow.
Which I think a lot of that has to do with the home game. You look at Indiana offensively, they're not good. 82nd, 15th overall defense, good defense, fifth in the country in 2-point percentage defensively.
Over under TJD flexing 4 times.
I'm going to go with the over since I think Indiana's going to win. It's a confusing Indiana team, though, Like they have 5 losses, okay. 4 of them in the Big Ten to Wisconsin and Michigan. Those make sense. Iowa, I guess, makes sense. Lost to Penn State. And then they lost to Syracuse. Like, how do you just not good?
That game went into like triple overtime.
Double overtime. And let's see. 112 to 110. Syracuse won. 31 points for TJD, 28 for Miller Kopp, 20 for Parker Stewart, and 17 for Race Thompson, and they lost. That's unbelievable. I mean, that's ridiculous is what that is. But what can you do, I suppose? Just a confusing Indiana team, though.
Kofi shot 84%, roughly, last game. So.
And he's 61 for the season, I believe.
You doing watch party tomorrow or what?
I think is what TJD is. I mean, I scheduled it, so if you want to. Asking me to get up at 10:45 on a Saturday is certainly a lot considering we're not into mid-February yet, which is where I really come alive. But, I mean,
That's
I
true.
don't know when we're going to do the episode after this game. Maybe just get it done Sunday or something because we are supposed to do the countdown to March Madness on Monday. So that's something to figure out. I don't know, but I do have the watch party scheduled, so we will be doing that barring a late scratch or something, which has happened before.
It has happened before.
So all right, we'll be back probably Sunday or early next week. When's the next game? I don't even know why I don't know this off the top of my head. That's embarrassing that I don't. Tuesday at Purdue. All right.
Yeah.
We'll be back for episode 97 next week or Sunday, one of the two, and tomorrow's a big test, see if we can keep the turnovers low. I agree, Evan, and we'll see. We'll talk about it on the thing tomorrow if we do that. The watch party is what that's actually called. I should say the entire term. Episode 97 coming in a couple days or something like that. Okay.